more we get.
We are Morehead City Politics, Morehead Politics. If you're not into the whole lawn name, I don't know. And my name's Judah, and this is Jeff. We like to talk, and Morehead Politics are something that brought us together. So here we are. Jeff, how are you doing tonight?
Hey, I'm pretty good. Today's first day of early voting. Don't forget to get out and vote. Goes till February 28th. Open from 8 o'clock in the morning to 7 o'clock at night. And you can also register to vote right now. Also, if you need to register to vote, take a valid ID. And
you just need one? Just one ID?
Just a valid ID, a valid state ID, or passport. And at least 2 items that show your current resident or your lease or something like that that shows where you've been living, and that should get you in to vote. And you should have no problems. And here's real quick, and we'll get into the other stuff. But if you go into the polling place and you feel that you're not getting the help you need, ask for a supervisor. Ask for a supervisor, or call the Carteret County Board of Elections. They're open. They should be open. But ask.
I wonder if they'll answer the phone.
When in doubt, ask for a supervisor. If you don't think, and get names. Get names. That way, you're not in the predicament of, well, I don't remember who I talked to. That's just my advice.
And this is important, folks, because this is why we're voting for mayor a second time. Because Can you remind me what is the 2 people that said they voted for Mayor Jerry, but were unable to vote? Can you know the details better than I do?
So from what I saw in the testimony, the one gentleman, and he's an attorney, he went up and he did not have apparently a valid ID. Okay. But yet his wife voted with a passport. And in his own testimony, he said, well, I got frustrated and I left. But yet they say that he didn't get the opportunity to vote. It's in the testimony. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, you got frustrated and left. Your wife voted with a passport, but yet
that seems to be a lockdown case. Like, sorry, buddy.
You would think so, but it is what it is, and here we are. We're voting again, folks. We're voting again.
Yeah, it's interesting. Oh, okay. Well, you brought up today on Facebook, you challenged both the candidates to talk to you, give an answer about 2 things: as homelessness in Morehead City and property taxes.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And I talked to them both about taxes. That was one of the main things I wanted to bring up. And of course, it's complicated. Lee gave me some more direct answers. I think I challenged him a little bit more. I'll tell you this. I think I was charmed a little by the mayor, Mayor Jerry. And his storytelling, like, he's a very good politician. He is an excellent politician. Like, they always say, like, whenever you get a question you don't want to answer, just tell a story, And he's told some, like,
oh, he was good. He's a good.
So interesting, like engaging. I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. He just has so many details, about the inner workings of the mayoralship of Morehead government, that Morehead city government, that it distracted me from my goal to get some answers.
So I've got a little research I did real quick, So right now for the 2025-2026 fiscal year, a property in Morehead City with an assessed value of $250,000 would owe approximately $1,418.75 in a combined city and county property tax. This calculation is based on the updated tax rates following the 2025 countywide revaluation. And
now,
that would be, go ahead.
No. That's good. I'm sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you.
And the way it breaks down is the Morehead City rate is 34.25 cents per $100 of valuation. And the county rate is 22.50 cents per 100 of valuation, making the total combined rate 56 and 3/4, like 56 cents, almost 57 cents per $100 of valuation of the property. And that puts it roughly at, for a $250,000 assessed value property. And I would say that's probably, would you say that's the average around here now?
I have no idea what you just said. Can you explain it to me in layman's terms? 50 cents? I don't know
so
what that
I was
means.
just reading it in the whole sense of like tenths and hundreds and thousands, because it goes into so basically it's 34 cents per $100 of the assessed value of the property, right? So for every $100 of your property value, the city is charging you 34 cents.
Gotcha.
Okay? And then the county is charging you 22 cents. So combined, they're both charging you 56 cents, which comes out to, for a house that's about $250,000, that's the annual amount for Morehead City, you're looking at $856.25. County tax, $562.50 for a combined value of $1,418.75 would be your tax at that at the year. I think you can pay it over the year or however that works. But yes, that was my question was, what did they say? I mean, what I haven't really heard a definite answer of how we're going to deal with it. And I actually just was screwing around on my own podcast. And I was bringing up the idea of, instead of raising our property taxes of the people that are here year round, for instance, I was just plugging in some numbers, and there's a house, say, so Airbnb, right? For if someone, and this is where I'm getting at, because someone that has an Airbnb house is making, just real quick, I'll pull it up here. I'm not trying to hog up all the time. I've just been doing some equations. So I looked up one house that was a 3-bedroom, 4-bathroom house. And if you rented that for a month, and obviously it's cheaper the longer you rent. That's how Airbnb, they give you a little discount. Now that comes out to roughly, that's $4,500 a month they're getting for that house. Okay. Now you take what? Spring. So you got March, April, May, June, July, August, September, about 7 months tourism time. Now, if they kept that house full, which a lot of the Airbnbs around here stay full during the summer, right? So you're looking at a potential revenue for 7 months, $31,000, $31,500 for revenue on a possible Airbnb. And that's just one. Yeah. And however, they do not get charged any different in their property tax valuation because it is because it's now, do they pay are there additional, there are some tax rates and stuff like that are charged for Airbnb and whatnot. But I'm saying
business tax rates. Yeah.
But I'm saying, why not raise their tax? Because no one that owns a house is making 31 grand in 7 months off their house, right? You're making a lot of money. And I'm saying,
but they're also spending a lot of money,
their
Like
choice.
they bought the house, right? But it's also like, as a capitalist, as a conservative, it's why should we punish people making money? Like, that's the problem, is you start disincentivizing business, and that's the tricky part. You don't want to disincentivize business.
I guess I sounded a little communist there, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
not, by the way, people. I'm not a communist, and I'm not about I love capitalism and I love making money. But where it comes to this Airbnb and this short-term rental, it's been around for a while, but that whole thing of renting your house out as it was because they never used to exist back in the day. You've got motels and hotels that pay
Mm-hmm.
there. I think there's there's a certain fee that they pay for being motel, like bed fees, right? And all that kind of stuff. I don't know what, I can look it up, but there's a fee they pay. If you have a hotel, there's a tax for having a hotel, I think, and stuff like that, where the original, I'm not against people making money, but again, even that Airbnbs, they cause a shortage of single family homes, because now you have people and you have corporations buying up single family homes for the simple fact of using them as Airbnb in vacation towns like us. So it's
yeah, but that's largely a misnomer. It's only like 5%. Large corporations, like a lot of people say, BlackRock, is buying up single family homes. It's largely inflated numbers. Like, the real numbers, like 5% of the industry is being bought up by these large corporations. Right. A lot of it is, like, honestly, my brother's business and my cousin's business, people that buy real estate, buy an extra house and rent it out,
Well, yeah, I mean, that's good. I mean, I don't mind. Like, that's normal. That's how it used to be. I just think that the vacation rental in places like this that are small, and we're small. We're a small vacation town. We're not a big vacation town. And, even that, where you look at somewhere like Wilmington, they've got the university, they've got income from the kids from the university and all that kind of stuff. I just think that you have people, I'm not against making money. I'm not trying to punish people, but I think when it comes to the Airbnb short-term rentals, that, you have the people here that own homes or that lease their homes out or that rent their homes long-term, that they're not making, I don't think they're making the same amount of money. They're not making, $4,000 in a month off that house. I don't think, right?
Well, but yes, they are. If they own it. I mean, a lot of the Airbnbs that are owned, like there's several here in Mitchell Village that are owned by, in fact, their neighbor. Their neighbor bought, their neighbor left, and so the neighbor bought the house and is renting it out. That kind of thing, So, I mean, they are. I mean, it depends on who you're talking about, like, that's the thing, is that I am against regulation. I'm against, like, overtaxing businesses and disincentivizing business, I don't like the idea of punishing people that are trying to make a dollar,
Well, I don't like it either, but when it comes to this property tax thing, it's like,
yeah.
That didn't look up the right zip code. Okay, so right now, you're looking at, I'm looking up right now. Let's just go 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom. Okay. Right now in Morehead City, the average, you've got a 4-bedroom, 4-bathroom for $3,500 a month. So it looks to me that you're looking at for a 4-bedroom, anywhere between $2,100 to about $3,700. So they're making roughly, $1,200 a month addition, I guess,
for the whole year, because if you're just doing regular rentals, that's 12 months.
Right. As opposed to,
30 months.
Right. I mean, so you're looking, I'm freaking
So, I mean, I think it is an idea to, I think what has to happen with taxes is incremental, right? It has to be incremental with economics, from what I understand. And I'm no expert.
Me neither.
But what I do know about finances and economics is big change causes catastrophe, right? Like people need to know, businesses need to know what to expect. They have to plan on, and so big changes cause disruption, major disruption to business, and when business is disrupted, that's when you have, that's then when you have economic downturn in the city, and one of the major revenue sources, and this is one thing that Jerry said.
Well, I just kind of
one of them. Well, this is one of the things he did mention. He said one of the biggest areas of revenue is the dingbatters. He didn't say dingbatters. I called them dingbatters in the interview, but is the people that are coming. It is the tourists. The tourists are the major, the largest percentage of our revenue as a city.
Right. No, I agree.
Wise.
They are. And thank you. And I was looking, and one of the reasons for the property tax increase was to deal with, it was to increase funding for public safety and infrastructure. And again, what's the biggest strain on public safety and infrastructure during tourist season, right? The influx of the population of tourists and traveling, and again, what do they call? What did he call them? The dingbatters.
I call them. Okay. That's what the locals call tourists. Dingbatters, dit dots.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, that's what I called them. He didn't bite though. He didn't go with that. He just called them tourists. But looking at the budget, 60% of the budget goes to staffing, and you think, well, that's huge, but that's not just staffing for downtown City Hall. That's staffing for the fire department. That's staffing for, let's see, who else? Of course, the police department. So you have to pay all the police officers, all the paramedics, the planning. You have the building inspector. You got IT. You got a couple part-time people, utilities, you got a plant operator. It comes down to a lot of different people that need to be paid.
It does. And I think that, hey, sorry, hello, my dogs are acting like Serengeti jackals right now. I apologize. Well, even that, maybe it's time to take a look at our local government and the efficiency and, the efficacy of certain positions and what they do. And, when was the last, and again, I'm all about smaller government, believe me, right? If you knock this table over, we're gonna really pushing their luck. Right now. But that's
what I said to Jerry. I said we could throw money at it, but it doesn't necessarily make them faster, right? I said, what are we doing to have better management? And I forget what he said because it was sort of effusive. But I think there is. Well, I think he mentioned equipment costs money and this and that, things go, and I don't know if that was a diversion, but I do think that needs to be looked at. Maybe the hammer needs to come down on, but see, then who's going to be the one? Are you and I going to be the one? Do you want to be the one that says,
hey, I'll go in and measure efficiency all day.
But are you going to be the one that goes and tells the police and the firemen that they're not doing a good job?
Well, see, the difference is, here's the difference. And my cousin put it this way, and he's in law enforcement. And he's like, I don't get paid for what I'm doing necessarily at that moment. I get paid for what I can do. Right now, policemen, they go on patrol. You know what I mean? They do go on patrol and they are proactive. Firemen sometimes once in a while go out and stuff like that. But their job is completely different than someone that sits in an office all day. Right. And I'm not go busting on people that sit in offices all day. I know you have tough jobs. I get it. Right. I'll probably get flack for that, dude. But I think that maybe the way we do things, I think that it needs to be looked at. I mean, you got to, at some point, you have to look at efficiency. What are we doing? How can it be done better? Right. I mean, it's 2026 and, talking about AI, again, that's a slippery slope. And we can talk offline later too. And I asked some buddies, my buddy is a chief of police up in Pennsylvania, my buddy who's a captain, they haven't heard anything about this AI tracking predators. And they both were like, I don't know, dude. They're like, what is it going to be? Some type of minority report? And I said, I don't know.
See, that's one of the problems. So not one of the problems, but one of the things Steve said, Steve, your uncle?
Yeah.
Was it? He was saying like, oh, it's got to have been done before but this is so new. I mean, I doubt if it's more than like a few months old, right? Like,
yeah.
I doubt anybody else is actually this sounds, if it's anything AI and it's having to do with being administered used by the government, right, that's got to be pretty new.
Both said, I asked them, I said, do you know of any larger metropolitan areas or county that are using anything like that? And he said, I don't know of anything new. They both said the same thing my uncle said. They're like, other than the systems that are already in place, I don't know anything about any of it. And hopefully when we talk to Sheriff Candidate Guthrie on Tuesday, he can elaborate a little more. Because I asked him, I said, hey, is there a company or do you have some information? And at the time he said no, that he didn't have a company. Yeah. So anyway,
I like your idea. I think if we raise the property or the taxes on what do they call it? It's actually being sort of talked about behind closed doors. They call them the short-term rentals, STRs. Mm-hmm. That is one of the things that's being talked about. Right, is to raise, but you're gonna have to raise it just a little bit, and they lowered the rates, last year they lowered them from like 30, what did they from the council lowered it. I don't know, did you see how much they lowered it?
I did not,
because when the valuation shot up, they lowered the rate about, I think that, here it is. Okay, never mind. What were you going to say? I interrupted you.
Well, I think you're talking about how they want to implement maybe something like in Myrtle Beach or whatever, where it's kind of what did they call it? It's not a vacation tax, but it's because of the tourism. It's like a tourism tax. It's a little bit that brings in the money. I should know. I should know what's.
Oh, here it is. They lowered it from 41 cents to 34 cents.
Right.
Like you were saying that it's 34 cents. It used to be 41 cents before the valuation shot up, because the city government has nothing to do with the valuations. That is the county board. Mm-hmm. And they decide the valuation mechanism and all that. But actually they could have lowered it lower. Revenue neutral, if income matched outgoing, bills, it would be around 28 cents per $100. So it is interesting that they didn't lower it.
Hospitality
revenue
tax.
Neutral. Oh yeah, hospitality tax. Yeah.
So in Myrtle Beach, they've got a 2% on short-term rentals less than 90 days, and it's applicable to hotels, motels, condos, and other lodging. That's what I was saying. Hotels have always had a hospitality fee, right?
Hospitality, yeah.
Hospitality fee. I don't know. And again, I said okay, so for infrastructure and first, and public safety, again, I think the biggest strain on those come during the tourist season, because that's when the numbers go up, right? So that's when obviously there's more calls for service, there's more wear and tear on the roads, plus it's hotter. So, or what do you do? Or do you add some type of, again, here we go with the taxes, but I don't see, again, you're right. I don't want the people that live here to be punished. And here's my thing, if you live here and you own an Airbnb, I think that's different too than if you live up in Connecticut and you come down here and you buy an Airbnb that you stay in maybe once or twice, and then you're renting it out for the rest of the year kind of thing.
Well, see, the council actually talked about this, and one of the problems that they talked about was enforcement. So how do you enforce? How do you know if it's a local that owns it? How do you know if it's somebody from, New York that owns it? If there are thousands of people and they are self-reporting, right, because taxes, who's going to police it?
Well, maybe it has to be, where, I guess you could say vehicle registration almost. Where's your vehicle registered? Is it registered in North Carolina or is it registered in Connecticut? Because let's just be real. You're going to register your vehicle where you spend most of the time.
Yeah, but then you get into Morehead City government doesn't have enough resources to be, sending out detectives on all. You're doing detective work on this.
I'm not saying that necessarily, but they have code enforcement officers. You have a code enforcement officer that goes out and writes violations for codes. It could just be a code. I'm not saying you have to put an additional strain on law enforcement or someone has to go out. There's got to be a way.
It would put an extra strain on the code enforcement. There probably is a way, but sometimes I have to watch myself because I start blaming the government for not doing things, but then I don't know, maybe it's more complicated than I thought, and looking into it, this is a complicated, because when I came up against Lee was actually the most receptive when I said, look, we got to find more creative ways of revenue. And
that's my thing is we need an industry around here, something, right? It used to be fishing and shrimping apparently used to be a lot bigger than it is now, right? I was watching something with that used to be a big industry here, that it's not as big as it used to be for whatever reason. And you got somewhere like Wilmington, they've got the movie industry, they've got their giant port. They're not worried about revenue in Wilmington. You've got the community college that might as well be a university down there.
True. But we shouldn't be really worried about it either. I know I saw you brought up on Facebook that we have slow time with our law enforcement and fire department or something. You were talking about that. But then again, I don't know that that's a money issue, seeing as how we are about 6 or 7 cents above revenue neutral, right?
What do you mean? I don't remember what I was saying about slow time. I don't remember.
You're complaining that we have a problem, when we go into or when we call a police or something. There's slow time.
You're talking about communication. I was talking about their
communication. Yeah.
I've heard that. I've heard that from from some of the the sheriff and maybe a couple of the city police officers, that their communication systems are kind of archaic and outdated. Yeah. Now I heard theirs are supposed to get updated too, which that's also a public safety issue, in numerous ways. And yes, rural areas, I understand, but we got 5G towers right here, and you're right. It all comes down to where's the money going to come from. I thought we were trying to go to a point in this country where we're getting rid of property taxes or making them as low as possible. Not continue.
Well, Florida, I think Florida is either done that or headed in that direction. And I agree. I agree. I think it's unpatriotic to have property taxes. But then the question is, well, what do we do to fund all these things that we need, all these staff that we need, that I would like to look at Florida and see what they're doing as they're getting rid of taxes. How are they funding all this stuff? Now one idea, it's not here's the problem though with a small town like ours, is you're going to really anger people if you lower the tax. So this is a real conservative thing. Lower the taxes for the incoming like outsiders so that we get a lot more, bring the revenue way up, and have lower taxes for the people that live here.
So no state has no property tax, but you got a state like Hawaii that they're only 0.27%. That's freaking.
Yeah.
That's like, and
but
my thing is, I think that as an overall that would help the economy, and there's plenty of states doing it that make less money, income tax. You got states like
you're talking about income tax?
Well, I'm saying as far as getting rid of income tax to boost people's overall income. So I guess when we got to pay freaking more property tax, I mean, we're just taxed so much on everything now. It's to the point where something's got to give, man. The taxes got to stop. I mean, you're taxed on your income. You're taxed on the gas. You're taxed on your car registration. You're taxed on your homes. You're taxed on your clothes. You're taxed on your food. You're taxed on the water. You're taxed on your power.
Oh, yeah. The dollar you spend goes through like 7 or 8 taxes in one day, right? Like you get it when you get it from your job, it's taxed. When you pay for something, it's taxed. When they have to pay a tax on the dollar that you gave them, like it keeps getting smaller and smaller. And so income tax, that's different. We can't get rid of income tax and property tax and expect there to be any money for the government.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But so right here, here's the states, and these are way bigger states. I get it. Alaska, no income tax.
Wait, are we talking about property tax or income tax?
We're talking about no income tax right now, but you've got Alaska, Florida, Nevada, New Hampshire, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Washington, and Wyoming. And and they have, a couple of them have in South Dakota, no state income tax, relies on sales tax and property tax.
Their sales tax are pretty high.
I mean, if you didn't have to have an income tax, man, that's still going to put money back in your pocket. It is. But again, I think it comes down to, what do we do? I think it comes down to I know we're kind of over our time here, but what do we do in the months where the tourism money isn't coming in? Right. Yeah. That's my thing is, what do we do to offset those months where we need something that people aren't? I mean, yes, you have people, we got people with our 9-to-5 jobs and stuff like that, but there is a lot of industry that, even air conditioning and all that stuff boosts during the summertime and maintenance calls and whatnot. And I think because we are a tourism area that, again, those damn tourists, dude, just creating all the problems.
Well, they're also creating all the solutions. So that's why Hawaii can have very low property tax, is because they have tremendous income coming in from people that are visiting, tourists. Like they are the number one tourist spot in the world. Probably not, but they're really high up there, right? And so I mean, it's a really tough give and take.
Well, I even asked why, and I could be wrong, but I said, why don't we have something going on with these cruise liners? Like they do their little weekend cruises down in Wilmington. Like, why are we not doing something with those? Not only would it benefit Morehead City, but you've got like Beaufort. I mean, it would benefit the whole area, right? To have, I'm like, that's my question is, how can we utilize what we have as far as that port in a better manner to bring in revenue, maybe?
It is interesting to me that we don't use the port as much. I think it has to do with 2 things. 1, interference with the fishermen. 2, and fishermen and boaters, recreational boaters. 2, access. We are, different than Wilmington. We have actually, Jerry said this, we are a peninsula. It's just like one road, one track going up there,
And I think that's why they're doing what's the highway extension they're doing?
Highway 42.
Yeah, I think that's part of the whole plan to bring the highway extension is to create another
pipeline
avenue for commerce to go in and out. I don't know. We'll see, but
yeah. But that gets to, I mean, real quick, we do want to mention homelessness. You brought up the idea of homelessness. You want to eradicate homelessness. Now, that is one of the biggest problems here in Morehead City is the disparity between the summer and the winter. There's a lot of, people that are on the edge that are barely making enough to get by on the summer, and then winter rolls around, and it's tough. It's very tough. It's why I was wondering why when I came back here from I lived in Illinois I lived near Chicago. I was like, why are there not better mechanics? I mean, there are decent mechanics around here, but like in Chicago, there's so many really good mechanics and for cheap. And one of the reasons is because it dies off so bad during the winter. It's hard to really sustain a really good, business model, especially when you want to keep it cheap.
Well, that is the thing that, like I said, it's that off season that it hits, man. It hits. And so that even goes into what I was talking about where, and I know people were like, well, you need to have patience. Like when it snowed, and I said, we can't, a place like this. And yes, we get disasters. And I said, but when things like that happen and you got to shut down a city for 3 days, these small business owners are feeling the effect. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Again, and that's infrastructure, right? Like, 3 days during the winter, especially when, hey, those are tight months for people that work in the service industry, man. And all of a sudden storm comes in and Mayberry shuts down for 3 days. Like it's 1950, dude. I mean, come on.
Yeah. This winter, I think is going to be particularly difficult. It's been a cold winter. And, if we had any tourists coming, everybody's sort of hunkering down in this cold.
Right.
It's probably, and I know people that are really, it's rough for boat mechanics and mechanics in general. Nobody wants to work out and, that kind of cold.
It's bitter root out there, as they say, bitter root.
But so homelessness, the only thing I'd say about homelessness is that I don't think it can be taken care of by the government. This has to be something that is taken care of by churches and individuals and the community.
I agree.
Because homelessness doesn't, only a small percentage of it comes from people that don't have enough money. A lot of it has to do with people that can't afford housing, but also have problems. They don't want to get into situations. They've really ruined their ability to be part of society, and they need somebody other than the government to come alongside of them and be sort of a sustaining spiritual, psychological, and relational help,
Right. No, I agree. And sorry for the yawn. Obviously look over the last few years, we can see what happens anyway when the government's given money. Hate to rip on California, my home state, but talk about misuse and fraud, waste, and abuse, man. They've gotten millions and billions of dollars for homelessness, and it hasn't been cured. It's only gotten worse, and I realized around here, we had this young gentleman at the sports center that was sleeping. And we got him into the Hope Mission, but I started asking around, and it was like, well, they got a few beds there. They've got, I think he had a few beds open, like 8 beds open still or something like that. And yes, it does require a sober environment also. And that's part of the thing. A lot of these people they do have addiction issues, and with that, where I've even, said to people, and I'm like, well, dude, I don't know. Would you just want to be living on the streets? I said, I'm not saying it's a good thing to do, but I'm like, would you want to have to deal with the reality of being homeless every day too? You probably wouldn't want to be in your right mind. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then you get into
Yeah.
that point when you're in such a state of addictiveness and what the drugs and the alcohol do to your brain over constant use, like you said, then you almost get into a state where now you're going to need a caregiver or you're going to need someone. And, you know, then you got to think, okay, well, you can't just throw them into a place like the Hope, you know, the Hope Mission, because it's a sober environment. So then they got to have a detox environment, right?
Yeah.
There's nowhere to
Yeah.
detox around here that I know of, you know,
Well,
unless they go to the emergency room, but that's not going to.
I think, dude, I really want to commend you on your voice on, you know, the competition you're doing and raising money for Hope Mission, and you were talking about giving money to Hope Mission. I think this is
Well,
something.
if I was to win, I mean,
Yeah. But this is something that, like, in the same way that a lot of us have been blind and, you know, asleep at the wheel about politics, you know, home politics, local
Right.
politics. I've been asleep at the wheel at looking at, like, I didn't even know Hope Mission. I didn't even know, like, some of these places, some of these churches, they're doing tremendous things, but they need help. They need money. And that's something that we could, like, really, I think we really need to put a magnifying glass, and not in a bad way, in a good way, and saying, like, hey, these people need help. Because some of the times it's just a lack of marketing or a lack of awareness.
Well, maybe one day we can get into life stories, but real quick, again, I know we're kind of right there, but we're having a really good one tonight. You know, I was sitting in my room last night. I was getting ready to go to bed, and you know, it says, and again, I haven't won any money, but I stay true to my word. Like, if I was to win this competition, I will absolutely donate my cash winnings of $20,000 to Hope Mission, because the doors that would open for me anyway if I won Mr. Muscle and Fitness and I got in the middle of that magazine would be limitless anyway. And all my basic needs are met. But with that being said, and you know, and maybe regardless of what's been going on politically and whether people like me or don't like me with that, like, they probably, if you sat down, like, I've been homeless, dude. I've lived in my truck. Like, it sucks, right? Like, yes, I have money coming in from the VA and stuff like that. But again, even that, like, you know, when you get to a point like that and your credit sucks, like, well, how you get into a place with good credit, right? Like, good luck getting into a place like, well, what's your credit? You know, oh, well, that's not going to happen. Do you have an address? No. And living out of your vehicle is expensive because you got to move around. And then you got to go to the grocery store, and like, you got to buy food every day. You can't buy food to store it, and the whole thing. And that I feel that that's one thing that, again, that it's that, you know, no one should have to you know, I know things happen, and, you know, but no one should be without a place to sleep, man. It's because we live in a modern society. You know, it's not like it was whatever 200 years ago, 100 years ago, where you could just go in the middle of the woods and cut some trees down and build a house, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't just go camp in the park, because if you camp in the park, you're camping in the park kind of stuff. You got people around.
Well,
so society, well, you
we
could.
do have some camping places around Walmart here in Newport, and used to be one near the Walmart in Moorhead. But you're right.
But that's why I was even saying, like, you know, even something, even in the winter time, or, you know, something temporary where you set it up, even like when we were on deployments in the FOBs and stuff like that. You know, you got shower trailers, you've got laundry trailers, you know, do like a, you know, come in and do like how they do veteran stand downs, you know, come in and almost set up like a kind of an emergency react situation where, all right, look, we've got cots set up, we've got laundry facilities, you know, try to help these people integrate into society, back into society, or get them into housing, or if they're able to work, if they're able, you know what I mean? Obviously situation's going to dictate, you know, but again, I know there's people sleeping in the bushes right now tonight, man. You know, there really are. And it's unfortunate. And that's my thing, is that, again, like you said, I think that, you know, we all get sidetracked, and I've been just as guilty of it, you know, and especially with politics. But it's like, I was like, you know what? All my basic needs are met. And if I could win $20,000, I'd absolutely give it, you know, to that place, to be, not that it would help a bunch, but help a little. But again, it's like, I think sometimes we all get wrapped up because, well, I've got my needs met. Not that we're not compassionate, but my needs are met. And what's this about this? And he's doing that. And it's like, hey man, what about our fellow man out there that's legit struggling that, they're, what's all this popping up?
Sorry, I posted your link. If anybody
Oh.
wants to go vote for this man, he's raising awareness. And I do want to say, I don't have very much time, but I want to, I don't know why your comments aren't coming up on the feed, but I do want to thank Frida for, she's watching and attention and commenting. She says, we do the same for hurricanes. You look at the registration license, OMG, if the county can hire outside or third-party companies to come for parking and write tickets, it shouldn't be that difficult to know who permanently lives there. Well, that could be. But, it's not as easy as you might think. It might be easy like 1 year. But remember, this would have to keep going every year.
Well, see, and this is where I'm almost like, when it comes to smaller government, and maybe we need to come up with some type of new local system, as funny as it may sound, where it's like where the people are governing the people. Like we're not like, not, and I'm not saying in a manner of we're having think tanks. You know what I mean? Just besides putting it all on the shoulders of 4 city council members that are also working part-time jobs to make ends meet. Right. You know what I mean? Like,
well, that's what my point is. It shouldn't be the government that takes it all upon themselves. Right. We should, as private citizens, should be taking responsibility ourselves to help and think of ways that we can help. So I wish I could talk more about it. This is a really good one. Maybe we could raise some of these issues with the sheriff. He might be able to shed some light on that on Tuesday. But I've got to go.
That he wants to do with the homelessness and stuff like that. So yeah, we'll talk to him. Yeah, folks, by the way, next Tuesday, we'll be talking to Sheriff candidate Guthrie. I've reached out to Asa Buck to see if we could talk to him and Chief Deputy Nyberg. We'll see if they get back to us with that. Again,
the Asa Buck race is looking really close.
Yeah. Shout out to my favorite restaurant in town, Full Circle Cafe. Go get a steak there. No, they don't pay us, but I'm just saying, hey, support your local businesses, stay local, buy local, shop local. That's it.
All right. Triple R Coffee, Triple R Roasters. They sell local coffee, veteran and family owned. All right. Well, we'll be back Tuesday. Thank you everybody for tuning in, especially Frida. She had some other comments, but I don't have time to. You can.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm not seeing.
I don't know. They don't come up. But Frida, if you ever want to leave a comment and it show up, we can post it here. Is leave a comment on the YouTube video, and really YouTube is our hub right now for a place for communication with us. And there is a time that we're going to be doing less here on Facebook and just focusing more on YouTube. And also, Jeff has set up a Spotify, so check us out there.
About to go nationwide on Spotify, baby.
That's right. Okay. Right. Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Jeff. And we'll be back here Tuesday.
All right. Cool.